Hi, curious people. Welcome back to another edition of our program at the Barnum Museum, introducing some of the wonderful collections that we have. My name is Adrienne St. Pierre, and I'm the curator here at the Barnum Museum. And I look forward to sharing these stories with you about some of the most intriguing artifacts that we have in our collection here. So let's begin with something that I think is quite extraordinary, and most everybody else who's seen these thinks the same. This is a pair of boots, and they belonged to Charles Stratton. You may be more familiar with Charles Stratton under his stage name, which is General Tom Thumb. Now, Barnum met Tom Thumb, or Charles, when he was a very little boy, just about 5 years old. And he was an incredible child, very bright, very personable. Barnum really launched his career at the American Museum in New York and then took him to Europe for a 3-year tour. So that was the beginning of his fame and fortune. And he continued with that through his entire life. Now, when we tell people that Tom Thumb was quite small, that's one thing. You kind of visualize what he might have looked like in your mind. But to understand what that really meant, I've always found that these objects, these boots, are the best thing we have. And people just look at them and say, oh, now I get it. All right, so let's just take a look. First of all, each boot is only about 6.5 inches tall. And the length from the toe to the heel is about 5 inches or so. It's also a very narrow foot. So if you look at the sole here, you can see this was no little baby's or toddler's boot that we're looking at. In fact, Tom Thumb was also billed as Barnum's man in miniature. And I think you can kind of get that from seeing these wonderful boots. They're leather, of course, and they have little blue and white straps that he would pull on to get them onto his feet. We also know a little bit about where these came from. There's a name inside which tells us they came from Leonard Bankert's store on Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. And you can even go on the internet today and find a little architectural drawing of that shop. Needless to say, these were custom made, but then many people's shoes were at that time. So these are really quite a treasure, and we're very, very fortunate to have these. We also have other boots that were worn by Charles throughout his life, and he did grow slowly over time. He was only about 21 inches tall when Barnum met him. But when he passed, he was only 45 when he passed, but he was 42 inches tall at that time. So the fact that he did grow slowly over time helps us to date some of the clothing and footwear that we have in the collection, and we certainly know that these were probably worn when he was very young, soon after he met Barnum. Perhaps he was only 5 or 10 years old at the time. So I hope you enjoyed learning about these wonderful pair of boots that we have, and I really look forward to telling you more stories from our collection. Again, please click on subscribe, and if you'd like to get notifications about more programs, press the bell. Thank you.